Hello, my lovely wolf pack, and welcome back to the Lone Wolf Show, brought to you by Wolfpack Media, the most entertaining place on YouTube for your news and commentary. I'm your host, Justin Huseman, founder and news contributor. We have a great show today, and I can't wait to get started. But before we do, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, share the show with all your friends, and join the pack today. All right, so my friends, it seems that this week Trump has signed a bill that was unanimously passed by the House and the Senate. Now, my opinion and everyone else's here at the Wolfpack is that we're not going to really get much from these files. It's going to be a big old nothing burger. At least that's just our opinion, at least as it pertains to being anyone being held accountable legally. We've already had this story has been going on for the past 10 years. The Biden DOJ and the FBI, in my opinion, has already burned and shredded and gotten rid of any relevant information that could get anybody legally in trouble. But the DOJ, has pretty much already said as much at this point. But we are already seeing some interesting connections to Epstein. If you can already probably guess which political party we're finding connections in already, you guys can probably already guess. Go ahead and comment down below your opinions and what you guys think about this whole situation. But let's go ahead and get into the news as it pertains to this. We have this from Axios. Trump signs bill ordering DOJ to release Epstein files. President Trump signed a bill ordering the Department of Justice to release all of the files related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, he announced on Wednesday night. Yeah, this has been a long time coming, honestly. Let's see here. The bill that passed in Congress on Tuesday requires the DOJ to make publicly available within 30 days a searchable and downloadable format all unclassified records, documents, communications, and investigative materials in the possession of the department, including the FBI and U.S. attorneys' offices that relate to Epstein. Trump had previously resisted calls to release the Epstein files and repeatedly referred to the matter as a hoax, which, us people on the MAGA side of things aren't really too happy about that. Anyway, I digress. The president said in his Truth Social announcement on signing the Epstein Files Transparency Act that this latest hoax will backfire on the Democrats just as all of the rest have, as he sought to tie the case to Democrats. I mean, as you'll see later, there's a lot of reasons why we're going to be tying a lot of this to the Democrats. Perhaps the truth about the Democrats and their associations with Jeffrey Epstein will soon be revealed because I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein files, Trump wrote. Democrats have used the Epstein issue, which affects them far more than the Republican Party, in order to try and distract from our amazing victories. I do have to pause real quick and say, yeah, this is not the way. I'm sorry, but if there's people within our government, and I don't know why Trump is doing this and why he has been fighting so hard against getting all this information out. My assumption is that we're riding along the lines of a lot of the people here at Wolfpack. We're all talking about it, and we're kind of riding along the lines of oh, maybe there's some people that are implicated in some sort of way, whether it be like I said, I don't think anybody's going to be legally reprimanded for any of this or held accountable the way that we want to, but the court of public opinion still matters here, guys. That's why people like us are here, to give you guys the news on the situation so you can make your own opinions on all of it. Once again, comment down below what y'all think. I want to know. I want to know what my audience thinks about the whole situation. What you guys got to say. We do reply. We do reply. We're not big enough not to reply to our audience, so Anyway, I'll read on here. The DOJ announced in July that it would disclose any more details about Epstein, that he had no client list, and that he'd killed himself in the New York City prison in 2019 and was not murdered. Yeah, nobody believes that. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry. I feel bad because I like FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino. I trust them as far as someone like me can trust any government official, and that includes Trump. That includes Trump because this whole thing has been an entire debacle on his administration. I don't know what people he's got around him when it comes to replying to the whole situation, but you know, you know how it is, man. Politics be politicking. Let's see here. The administration has faced months of pressure to release the files from survivors of Epstein's abuses to influential MAGA figures, and the president has clashed with Republicans' critics over the matter, including traditional Trump loyalists, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, which, like you guys, I know we've been fighting about this here at the Wolf Pack. A couple of us have been arguing about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey. I disagree with the other boys when it comes to this. I like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I really like Representative Thomas Massey. Uh, I think they're trying to do the right thing here, especially as it pertains to there's something weird, man. There's something weird. The only explanation I could come up with here is that the government's trying to save face. That's one. Two, the government is using, I don't think they want it known that the government is using blackmail operations within the CIA and other intelligence agencies to blackmail powerful figures for political gain. But that's just my opinion. What the hell do I know? I'm just some dumb drywall that complains on the internet for a living. Anyway, we'll read on here. The House Oversight Committee released thousands of emails related to Epstein this month. Some of them referred to Trump, who has acknowledged he was once friendly with Epstein, but said they had a falling out. Trump has never bing charged with any wrong. No shit. Yeah, we don't care. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who refused to answer questions about Epstein during an October congressional hearing, announced last week she would follow Trump's directive for the DOJ to investigate figures connected to the Democratic Party. Like, dude, like, and that's what I'm saying is I don't care if you have a D, R, and R in front of your goddamn name, dude. Like don't make me I don't know. Don't make me defend crazy people on the internet, man. I don't know. Like I really I don't want to believe, but I don't know. I'm very anti-government, man. I don't trust any of these politicians as far as I can throw them. They're all fucking self-serving when it comes down to it, especially when it comes to maybe being implicated in some sort of legal debacle. Anyway, we'll move on here. Now, I personally have been going back and forth on my opinions on this story as it's been developing. I gotta say, obviously, I'm not impressed at all with the way Trump and the DOJ have handled this so far. This whole thing is just debauchery at its finest within within the U.S. government. So with it causing, especially when it comes to it causing division within the Republican Party, like I said, I don't care if you have a D or an R in front of your name. If you were diddling kids, you belong in jail for the rest of your life, if not worse. So that's just my opinion there. Now that being said, the Democrats haven't done much better at all in trying to use this issue to smear Trump. Because of course that's the only thing that their party stands for these days. But let's go ahead and take a look at this second story that I have here from the Business Insider. Maximum amounts allowed: how Jeffrey Epstein's political donations won him and his pedophile island a powerful ally. And of course, I'm sure a lot of you have heard this story already. what was this? Representative Stacey Plaskett of the U.S. Virgin Islands. Now, I gotta remind you guys, because who might not know, the U.S. Virgin Islands is not a state; it is a U.S. territory, but they do have a representative there that represents them. That's the Stacey Plaskett lady. Um, Obviously a Democrat who is strongly against Trump, who actually sat on the congressional committee um, when they were dealing with some of this Trump Russia hoax and trying to get him implicated in the 34 felony counts or whatever there in New York. Uh, but she is a non-voting member because the U.S. Virgin Islands are not a state. They do get a representative, but they do not get a vote, which is kind of weird. I also have to throw a bit of information out there about the U.S. Virgin Islands because, as far as I'm concerned, the entire territory, or whatever you want to call it, it has been used by a lot of powerful people throughout the years. It's basically just a huge money laundering operation, in my opinion. But you guys can go look up stuff on that yourself. I encourage you to do so. Anyway, we'll go ahead and read this here. It was 2018, and Representative Stacey Plaskett was running for re-election in Congress. She expected to win a third term easily, running unopposed in both the Democrat primary and the general election. Yeah, that's a great way to get. That's why I don't like this lady at all. Like, she ran completely unopposed. Gee, that's real democratic right there. Yeah, well, we got to protect our democracy from that. It reminds me of Kamala Harris. Basically unopposed, installed dictator, They call us fascists, they call us authoritarian, but here we go. We got people like this. Anyway, da 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 da. Where was I? I forgot where I was. Here we are. Running unopposed. Da da da. The U.S. Virgin Islands, where Plaskett is from, doesn't have normal congressional representation like Washington D.C. and Puerto Rico. It has a non-voting delegate. I just explained all that. She can serve on committees, but doesn't have any say when the full House of Representatives votes on a bill. And once again, it said she served on committees. I want to further reiterate that a little bit, that she actually serves on the House Intelligence Committee. That is pretty bad place for a woman like this to be sitting within our U.S. government. But once again, go look it up yourself, form your own opinion. I'll read on. One part of her job, however, is the same as that of every other Democrat in Congress. She's expected to fundraise for the Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee. That year's campaign cycle, the committee gave her a target of around $250,000 to raise for the organization, which recruits and supports candidates for the party, she said in a deposition taken earlier this year. Yeah, which I have to say something about that real quick. I do not like how that works. I don't like how any of that works at all. How people within either party have to, like, raise donation money. Like, it just all sounds like really fucking sketchy to me. That's just my opinion. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments about that. Yeah, I'm just I'm pretty well versed in U.S. civics, but I'm still learning. I learn new things every day being in this business. But yeah, apparently that's what they do. They all have to worry about less about legislating. Our legislative branch of government worries more about getting donations than it does worrying about actually legislating, doing their fucking job. Anyway, Plaskett had a list of people to ask for money. It included previous donors, alumni, and individuals who were interested in the same topics for which committees I sat on, she said in the deposition. On that list, she said, was pedophile Jeffrey fucking Epstein. Of course, a financier worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Epstein owned 2 islands in the U.S. Virgin Islands. There are roughly 50 islands overall. His main residence on the island of Little St. James was lavishly furnished in the style of a resort. He had even shipped in more sand and palm trees to make it look exactly as he desired. That's weird. I don't know why they included that in the article, but okay. Plaskett wanted to persuade Epstein to donate $30,000, the maximum amount an individual can donate to a national campaign committee at the time. There was just one issue for Plaskett. Epstein was a convicted sex offender. Yes, guys, and she was already spouting on CNN that he just a blatant lie, and I believe on C-SPAN I seen the other day her spouting about this because she's already obviously taken heat from all this. Where she was just blatantly lying to you guys. They think we're fucking stupid that he had not been convicted yet because it was, let's see, what did it say here? Oh, it said, I don't know. It doesn't say. But this is supposedly going on in, like, I don't know, somewhere 2018, 2019 area. I want to say like late 2018 and early 2019 when he had already been, anyway, when he had already been convicted the first time and got that sweetheart deal, I believe, on his conviction for trafficking of a minor. So anyway, she's basically lying. If you hear on TV in the next couple of weeks saying, "Oh, well, he wasn't a convicted sex offender at the time," that's a lie. The lie detector test determined that was indeed a lie. They think we're fucking stupid. They think that we don't have the internet. That's what I don't understand about some of these older people in Congress. It's like the internet never forgets, and millennials like me, we we know that all too well. So quit treating us like we're stupid. Anyway, Epstein was a convicted sex offender, having pleaded guilty 11 years earlier to soliciting sex from a minor. Law enforcement had separately concluded he sexually abused scores of underage girls at his home in Palm Beach, Florida. But with the help of high-powered lawyers, Epstein got a light sentence. Yeah, he got the house arrest for fucking a minor. Just gonna leave that out there for you guys to ponder a little bit. For 2 decades, Epstein had also flexed his political muscles and exerted control in the U.S. Virgin Islands halls of power. New court documents show how the territory's first lady steered him through political waters, guiding donations to key politicians. Epstein weighed in on an overhaul of sex offender laws. Yeah. Considered putting a lawmaker on retainer and made a customs office look the other way by simply buying all 78 staff members turkeys for Thanksgiving. Court finally said, "Really, man, that's the price of our soul now is a Thanksgiving turkey." You fucking people, these people fucking disgust me, man. I I'm sorry. I cannot get over how disgusting this whole fucking situation is on every fucking level. And that includes how Trump and his DOJ and his administration has handled this thus far. That includes them. And I ain't trying to get no smoke, man, but it's how I feel. This is all ridiculous, and this whole situation is disgusting, and it definitely should have been handled. Yeah, I can put a lot of blame on the Democrats, but it definitely should have been handled in a different way, especially as we're seeing now. And I don't know if this was included in the story here, but uh, yeah, the way that they voted to censor this lady recently in the past couple of days since this information has come out, and it seems like that the Republicans made some sort of behind the scenes deal to make sure she didn't get censored. Now that's really concerning to me, especially considering that she's on the House Intelligence Committee and she's not even a voting member of Congress, so it really doesn't make any fucking sense. But they made some sort of deal to vote to not censor her, which really is just a slap on the wrist in Congress. It's really nothing, means nothing. But still, they couldn't even vote to censor her because they made some sort of deal where a Republican was going to have a vote to get censored or something too, or get reprimanded in some sort of way. And they were basically like, well, we'll vote to not censor him if you guys don't censor her. And that whole fucking situation is absolutely disgusting. Anyway, I'll read on. A $30,000 donation was a feasible ask. For Epstein, he had donated generously to Democratic politicians from the U.S. Virgin Islands for years. Yeah, I'm sure he did. The entirety of the U.S. Virgin Islands, in my opinion, and the history I've read on it. The whole thing with J.P. Morgan Chase a couple of years ago. I would encourage you to go look into that. The whole U.S. territory is, and the entire thing is a money laundering Ponzi scheme. The whole fucking dealio, dude, for rich, powerful elites to get out of paying taxes and laundering their illegal donations and monies. I'd encourage everybody to go look into the U.S. Virgin Islands. It's a disgusting place of business and politics within the United States here. He got a $300 million in tax incentives and was able to fly girls to his islands without customs batting an eye. And Plaskett had taken Epstein's money before for her own campaign. Earlier that year, on July 12th, Plaskett sent an email to Epstein's assistant, Leslie Groff, inviting the pedophile to a fundraiser for her campaign. She said she would be grateful for whatever support Epstein could provide. Wow, this lady is in some hot water. Like, I don't know. I hope that the DOJ does the right thing and tries to prosecute, but I don't know. We'll see. I do not have high hopes for a living. Literally, I do not have high hopes for a living. Epstein responded just 2 minutes later in his typically typo marred I don't care about that. Get maximum amounts allowed. Yeah, we would have a friend in Stacy. Epstein kept up the generosity. In September that year, a consultant on Plask's campaign invited Epstein to 2 dinners on St. Thomas and St. I don't know how to pronounce that. Crux. The 2 main islands in the U.S. Virgin Islands email show Epstein swiftly promised he would donate the max, but said he didn't want his name attached. Gee, wonder why. At some point in fall 2018, Plaskett visited Epstein at his Manhattan mansion. Wow. Plaskett said Groff greeted her at the foyer and brought her to Epstein, who was sitting, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this is insane. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Just a few months after Plaskett's 2018 re-election, federal prosecutors in Manhattan brought a sex trafficking indictment against him. He died in jail, blah, blah, blah. We know that. Epstein donated $5,000 to her campaign in 2016. He maxed out his donation to her unopposed campaign. Like, why do you need money for a donation in an unopposed campaign in the 2018 cycle as well? His financial support of Plask's political career stretched back to 2014, the first year she won her seat in the House. Oh, man, they're not going to have anything on here about... Well, maybe I'll do that in another video because I kind of got to wrap it up here. Anyway, guys, yeah, this is insane. This Stacey Plaskett lady, I've seen her a lot on C-SPAN talking shit. It seems that she doesn't really have a fucking leg to stand on here in this situation. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I really like hearing from all y'all. And once again, make sure you smash that like button. You can follow us on X and Facebook, and here on YouTube at Wolfpack Media 92. We really appreciate any support we can get, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.